We are back at Berk Island, now with a few new friends. Dragons moved to this island since we last saw it, and they now coexist with the humans. They now even have sports with the dragons that they call dragon racing. The whole group of friends of Hiccup are a part of this celebration, and they split into teams for glory. While all of his friends fight it out, Hiccup is nowhere to be found, and his father Stoic scares him off with a talk about leadership and responsibilities. The rest of the gang keeps flying out to score as many goals as they can. It's basically dragon football. The twins are about to win, but the black sheep is realized, and this one it's more valuable than all the rest of the sheep. Hiccup explains that they adapted pretty well to the dragons, and the dragons to them. Not even the fire is a problem anymore. They have special care for them, and they are now part of the town. The twins get the black sheep worth 10 of the regular sheep. It looks like it's over, they are gonna win, but then the twins fight each other for the sheep, and Astrid uses their distraction to steal it from them. And after juking the rest of the boys, she scores and wins the game with 13 sheep. The crowd cheers and Astrid celebrates, but just for a second, as she now wants to find Hiccup. Hiccup is in a completely different place, exploring the ocean with Toothless. Huge whales like dragons swim beside them as they fly at maximum speed. They then fly up to the sky, as high as they can, so high that they see the biggest dragons, the ones no one sees regularly because they keep to the skies. Hiccup jumps off the back of Toothless and starts free-falling. Toothless follows him closely, and as he is about to hit the waters of the ocean, he shows off his new invention. A suit that is shaped like a dragon allows him to fly short distances. They even try out the Swit's ability to dodge and turn, with Toothless throwing some small fire in front of Hiccup. Together they fly around, but in an instant, huge rocks appear in front of them. Since Toothless is still hurt and can't fly up without Hiccup, he can do anything to save him. Hiccup is about to hit the rocks, but luckily Toothless uses his fire breath and destroys part of the rock, reaching to grab Hiccup and saving him. They hit the ground, and Toothless is really mad at Hiccup since he doesn't want to try this sort of maneuver anymore. The two of them fight it out in a funny way, and of course, the huge dragon wins. Hiccup is really into exploring the world and is writing about everything he sees in his journal. While he managed to cover a lot of ground, air, and sea, there is still a lot to learn from the world. Hiccup wants to keep going, but that's when Astrid comes and interrupts them. She asks him why he didn't turn out at the race. Everybody missed him there. He confesses that he doesn't want to speak to his dad. While life on the island became rather easy and chill, his father is already thinking of making Hiccup the chief of the island. Astrid is really happy for him. This will be great for both of them. But Hiccup isn't convinced yet. He didn't respond to his dad and just ran away. He isn't interested in the honor of being the chief, but Astrid is. Hiccup doesn't see himself as the chief, and for that, he would rather keep searching for his place in the world. But before Astrid could say anything else to convince him, they both look out and see a huge smoke cloud coming out of the woods. They fly out to investigate and find out that a huge chunk of the forest was burned down. They follow the path of destruction and see a huge base destroyed and frozen in place. They also find huge footprints on the ground, and Toothless feels uncomfortable. In a second they get ambushed, and pirates start attacking them and take Astrid's dragon out with a net. They climb to it and almost eliminate it, but Hiccup appears right in time to stop them. He shows off his special fire sword, and the pirates are impressed. They thought that Toothless was the one that caused all of the destruction and stole all of their dragons. They reveal that they are no pirates but rather dragon hunters. They work for a guy named Drago that is recruiting dragons to start an army. The hunters want Toothless since he is the last of the Night Furies. Hiccup tries to talk with the hunters, but their leader Arid doesn't want anything to do with him or the other people that also rescue dragons. They try to ambush them once again, but Toothless distracts them and they manage to escape, but Hiccup is still worried. Arid mentioned a man called Drago and his quest to conquer all dragons. They fly back to the island and tell all of their findings to the rest of the group. Hiccup tries to talk to his dad about this Drago guy, but he doesn't listen. His only worry is his people's needs, since he is trying to train Hiccup in how to be a great chief. Hiccup confronts him and tells him about the hunters, the special dragons, and Drago. Right as he mentioned his name, Stoic's face turned white, and he recognized that name. He then ran out to the gates of the island, and in order to seal all the dragons and block the gates, Hiccup asked him why, but Stoic didn't answer. Stoic only wants to keep everything in its place and fortify the island. He assumes there is a war coming and that Drago is a madman that will not want peace. But Hiccup still wants to try. His plan is to follow the trappers and find Drago to talk to him. He then flies out and escapes to try and find Drago. In the middle of the sea, Arid is about to begin dragon hunting. He doesn't want to go back to Drago without any. The last time that he did it, Drago scared him and assured him that the next time he would eliminate him. Right as they are about to begin, Hiccup and Astrid show up, and without a fight, they give up. Hiccup hands over his weapons and just gets himself in a cell. Eret doesn't believe him and tells him that when Hiccup explains that he wants to see Drago, he believes he can change his mind and make him understand that dragons can actually be friends with humans. He was about to give Eret a demonstration about the dragon's loyalty, but he gets captured by dragon riders. But it actually turned out to be the rest of his friends. Thinking they really captured him, they came to rescue Hiccup. That's when they start getting attacked by the trappers, and the lady twin, Rough Nut, sees Eret and falls in love with him. The group then gets to the boat of Eret, and Stoic confronts Hiccup. He wants him to come back home and start the defense of the island, but Hiccup is confident that his plan will work out. That's when Stock loses it and finally tells the story of Drago. The year before, there was a meeting of all the chiefs of the different islands of Vikings. Then appears Drago, without a weapon and covered with scars and a cloak of dragon skin. He explained his plan. He didn't want to get rid of the dragon scourge but rather conquer them. He claimed that he already controlled dragons and that he would keep them safe from them, as long as the chief bowed down to him. The chiefs laugh at him and then he left, but with a warning, that without him no one was safe from the dragon. And as he left, dragons burst out of the ceiling and burned everything to the ground. Stoic was the only one that came up alive. The story was convincing, but Hiccup still wanted to try, so he flies out and left his family behind. In the air, he encounters a mysterious figure that appears to be floating in the clouds. After disappearing, he emerged on top of a huge dragon with 4 wings. From behind, another dragon captured Hiccup, and without him, Toothless fell to the ground. He smashed a piece of ice and trembled into the water. He tried to swim and eventually came out, only to see his best friend being kidnapped. There another water dragon appeared and took Toothless. The rider took Hiccup to another ice like a fortress, inside a bunch of dragons looking down at him. They were about to bite him, but Hiccup used his sword and special abilities that he discovered about the dragons to gain their trust. When the raider saw this, he approached Hiccup and showed him that he actually grabbed Toothless from the water and that he was fine. The rider then came closer to Toothless and with a trick with his hand, he put him to sleep. Then noticed that Hiccup had facial hair and got scared. That's when he said his name. Then she took off her helmet and showed her face and revealed that she in fact was his mother. In the middle of a blizzard, Stoic is trying to find Hiccup. They find his helmet and a huge chunk of ice destroyed. They realize that Hiccup was most likely attacked by something big, and that they need to follow his track quickly. Back at the cave, Hiccup is trying to get his mother to explain what happened to her, and that's when she showed him the best of the dragons. Inside the cave, a bunch of them were flying out and eating together. She showed him that so that he understands that for the last 20 years, she's been rescuing dragons and keeping them safe in there. Hiccup explains his relationship with Toothless to her and how everyone on the island now has dragons. She doesn't believe him at first, as she tried for many years to get people to see the beauty of the dragons. She told Hiccup the story of the day she left the island. During an attack on the island, a dragon entered the room where Hiccup was as a baby. But rather than attack him, the dragon just looked at him and played with him. That's when Velka knew that her destiny was to understand the dragons. Stoic rushed to eliminate the dragon, but it took Velka and left with her. Velka stayed with the dragon and learned a lot about them. For once she finds an alpha dragon, a superior and ancient species of dragon that can command the rest. The two of them spend some time together and Hiccup forgives her for not coming back. They start over and together they want to find every last secret about the dragons. Hiccup is really excited as he now has somebody that can help him talk to Drago, but Velka, just like his father, doesn't believe that is possible and doesn't want to deal with Drago. On the other side of the ocean, the rest of the gang, minus Stoic, are worried about Hiccup, so Astrid decides to kidnap Eret and make him show them the way to Drago. After a little flying action, Eret agrees. Once they reach the base, they find a bunch of boats all aiming at one huge concentration of bubbles under the water. Unfortunately, they get captured before they could get a chance to see what it was. They finally see Drago and he shows off his ability to conquer dragons. With his cloak of dragon skin he can resist the fire breath of the dragons and knows how to put them to his command. Astrid tries to intimidate him, saying that Hiccup will come with an army of dragons of his own, but Drago doesn't bite and wants to bring the war to the island of Berk. Since he feels betrayed by Eret, he wants him eliminated, but the dragon of Astrid rescues him, only to be captured again. Back at the cave, Hiccup finds his dad trying to get him out. He tries to make him realize that he actually wasn't captured, but like always he doesn't hear anything he says. And as they move through the caves they find Velka. At first Velka thought that Stoic would get angry at her for not coming back to the island in all of those years. But Stoic is actually happy to see her again and the both of them kiss lightly. On the boat of Drago, the rest of the gang is about to be thrown to the ocean to drown in freezing waters. But luckily Eret now joined them and helped them escape and save all of the dragons. In the cave, Stoic and Valka are making dinner, and together with Hiccup are explaining that things actually changed on the island. They want to be a family again, but Velka isn't so sure. She really enjoys life in the wild. So Stoik sings her a song that they used to sing all the time before. While she wasn't taking it at first, she also sang, and together they danced. Finally, after some consideration, she said yes to being the wife of Stoik once again and came back to the island. But as they finished their dance, a huge explosion on the outside caught their attention. The forces of Drago were attacking the cave. Together they form a plan to rescue the dragons and get into action. With the help of the rest of the gang, they managed to destroy most of Drago's traps and weapons, but Drago's real target was the Alpha Dragon. Once it came out, he used his secret weapon. He too had an alpha that can dispute the leadership of all dragons. The two alphas fight, but ultimately Drago's alpha is victorious. He then takes control of all the dragons on the island and tries to eliminate Velka. Stoik saves her, but the alpha finds them anyway. Before Drago could give the command, Hiccup confronts him and tries to reason with him. But Drago is tired of living in fear of dragons, so he himself will be the one that strokes fear at them, conquering them all. And for demonstrating that, he uses the Alpha's ability to control other dragons to take Toothless. Toothless tried to resist, but to no end. Drago then commanded him to shoot at Hiccup, but at the last second Stoik jumped in front of him and took the blast, dying. Drago leaves with Toothless and all of the dragons of the island now to conquer what is left of Berk. Hiccup and everyone left made a Viking funeral for Stoik, and his mother tried to make him feel better, helping understand his true nature as chief and leader of dragons. Now he is ready to fight Drago and this time win. Since they don't have any dragons, they have to rely on the babies since they don't follow the orders of the Alpha. They go back to Berk where Drago has been causing havoc. The kids distract the huge Alpha to give time to Hiccup. He wants to get Toothless back, so he flies up to him and tries to wake him up. The mind control of the Alpha was too strong and Hiccup fails. That's until he manages to touch Toothless on the head and show him love. He wakes him up and throws Drago far away. Using his glider, Hiccup detonates his sword near Drago, separating him from the Alpha. Now that he is alone on the floor, Hiccup tries to take down Drago for good, but the Alpha protects him and froze Hiccup and Toothless. Everything looked to be lost, but Toothless managed to destroy the ice using the new power that Velka gave him. He now can confront the Alpha as an Alpha himself. The rest of the dragons recognize his power and join him in defeating the bad Alpha. Together they blast off the Alpha with Drago mounting him. The Alpha then swims away, apparently with Drago, who is nowhere to be seen. The people and the dragons celebrate this victory together and are now as toothless as the Alpha Dragon of the island, and Hiccup is named Chief of Berk.